Hi all, ready for another story? Great. So today we have the story of Kisagotami. Kisagotami is the name of another person. In this case, it is a woman. And the story revolving around this is death takes away the attached. Let's read the verse. For one who has a clinging mind and finds delight in babes and herds, death does seize and carry away as great flood a sleeping village. So what is this about? There is talk of death. All right. So earlier on, I said Kisagotami was a woman. She was just a normal lay woman, and she had a child, her sole and only child. So, as a very good mother, you can imagine her grief when one day her child unfortunately dies. As a young baby, perhaps maybe just a toddler, anyway, very young, and she was in great denial. She could not take it. She could not believe that the child she so loved was no longer alive. She was out of her mind with grief. She went mad and was tearing through the village. And because of her denial, she continued to seek help for her child. She was going around begging anybody who could cure her child or bring the child back to life. So there were many who were very sympathetic. There were many who were as heartbroken as she was. But there were also many who ridiculed her in her moments of madness. So she was tearing through the village and she was in great distress. And it was said when I first heard the story that in her throes of desperation and despair, she threw away everything and even tore off her clothes. So she was like stark naked going through the village. And she ran towards where the Buddha was said to be. Now, any monk, uh, ascetic, or anybody who was supposed to be cultivating a so called virtuous life, especially the Buddha, was supposed to keep his distance from women in general, contact with women, let alone naked women. So when she was throwing herself at the Buddha's feet or trying to, others were trying to stop her from getting near him. But the Buddha, with all his compassion and wisdom, knew of her suffering. And he asked them to, like make way, let her come near, let her say what she wants to say. So she threw herself at Buddha's mercy and said, great teacher, great Lord, please, please save my son. Save him. Only you can save him. I know you can save him. Please save him. So the Buddha tried to console her and tried to calm her down and said, okay, okay, all right. What I need from you is for you to get some mustard seeds. So this woman was suddenly, like, oh my gosh, he agreed. He agreed to help my son. My son can be saved. And all I need to do is get some mustard seeds, like easy task. Then the Buddha stopped her and said, hang on a minute. These mustard seeds cannot come from anywhere. They must be given to you by a house, meaning in those days, a family or a clan, because they tend to live together. So it must be from a house that has not experienced death. So Kisagotami agreed and she departed Buddha's presence to try to look for these required mustard seeds. She went from house to house and eventually from village to village because she had to knock on everyone's door and beg them for some mustard seeds. And she had to ask them if they had experienced any death in the family. And what a long and tiresome journey it was for her. But throughout the journey, it was very insightful. No one, not a single household, had managed to escape death. Everyone had someone they knew, who they were related to, who they loved, die on them. There was not one single person who was spared the experience of death. Kisagotami realized that she was not the only person who had to suffer the pain of having someone she loved die and be parted from them. So, with this knowledge, she went back to the Buddha. Buddha knew that she was ready to start her journey towards enlightenment, and he gave her his teachings. And with that, she attained the first level, which is Sotapani. And through several lifetimes later, she managed to attain full enlightenment, which is arahantship. Arahantship is the enlightenment one gets through guidance or teaching from another. So, this story, the story of Kisagotami, shows us that no one can be spared from death, and death comes to all of us. So, as with Kitagotami, we need to learn to let go. So, learn to let go.